The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM. The living room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked on to the true nation station WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and say with the chest that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott. Well, Tony P, where the P this week stands for
Promotion, Aaron, promotion.
You get promoted?
Well, we are at the start of a new school term. A whole new school year. And I don't know if you remember this, but at the end of the last term, they said that the kids would have been promoted to second year or standard this or form 2 or form 3. Remember, there's promotion at the end of the school year. Right, so this is the beginning of the new term, the new school year for the kids. That's also why I wear my San Fernando Boys RC PSA jersey. It's also why I wear my presentation college hat, as a nod to the joy that is school being in session and the traffic that it brings. Yeah. So that's one of the P's, the promotion. It's our new school term.
Traffic. The P this week is for predicament for me, boy.
Pardon?
Predicament.
Listening.
Because as elated as I am for learning to resume for the kids, I am demotivated by the amount of traffic that it has caused. Right. At the middle of July, when school would have closed, my commute to work would have been roughly 11 to 12 minutes. For the past 2 days, it takes me 11 to 12 minutes to get from my junction to the turn on to the highway. No, sorry, not even the turn on to the highway. From my junction to the traffic light on the bottom of the street. And then a further 10 minutes from the traffic light to the turn on to the highway, which is no more than 500 meters away.
Ooh. Wow. That is...
So, as I said, as elated as I am for children to be back out to school and get that opportunity to learn, it puts me in a weird predicament because my usual 10-minute commute on a whole is now 28 minutes.
Right. That is unfortunate. What is also unfortunate is that for those who might be tuning in for the first time, they don't know who they're talking to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if you didn't know, this is yours truly, Aaron868. I remind you each and every time that culture is my code, and I sit here alongside my bro with no fro, a lot of flow, always on the go and in the know.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage on the global stage.
And this is the living room. Where we discuss any topic under the sun.
Wisely.
Even the moon.
Hey, listen, there's an eclipse coming up sometime, as I mentioned, that's another blood moon. But anyway, that's beside the point.
I'm not going to say that. Anyway, I can't make no kind of wild comments anymore.
Yeah, we because we're responsible. We're responsible on-air personalities.
And also our SOs listen to the show, so
listen. Hey, speaking of SOs, well, for those who don't know the running joke, the inside joke, SO is not just significant other. right, is also your supervising officer. In some cases, those terms are used interchangeably. But I do want to acknowledge another promotion of sorts. A supervisor who has been appointed as the chairman of the board, of NAPA's board. Congratulations to Kenny Phillips.
I was wondering where it's going with that. It's really getting good.
No, I mean, you have to acknowledge. Remember, several of our interviews and commentary over the years has been about not necessarily a lack of acknowledgement, because the WACK listeners do acknowledge Kenny's contribution, and it WACK's as a whole the contribution to the cultural landscape. Now we're seeing that it is being recognized on a national
landscape. And I'm happy for that. I'm very happy for that. And I do hope that he positively impacts the organization, which he has been so I don't want to say eloquently chosen, but so perfectly married with to chair.
Fair. Having gotten to work closely-ish with him, I can tell you, listen, this man is a treasure, yes? And
for the right and the wrong reasons.
Hey, listen. Hey. I do recognize.
I have worked very closely with him. Sometimes a little too closely.
Yeah.
He's already a special fellow when
he's a treasure. He's a treasure. So some treasures is an interesting thing. Some of it is displaced, some of it is going to bury it. But he is a treasure. And the contribution that he is capable of making to the cultural landscape, not just with regards to the depth of cultural preservation, but also in terms of being able to marry the commercialization so that it becomes a more self-sustaining field. Yeah. So congratulations, sir. All the best. Hopefully, when you have to navigate that highway to do your business, you don't encounter the kind of traffic that people had yesterday morning.
Boy, I saw a photo at 5:52 or 6:02, somewhere between that time frame. And traffic on the, I wouldn't say the foreshore, but the Port of Spain shore, it looked backed up already. I really don't envy the persons who have to go through that on a daily, because let's be very honest here. It's not just because of that road issue it had yesterday. That going into Port of Spain thing is an everyday thing.
Pick up my hat now. I know of a young lady.
Yeah, no hats allowed in school.
Yeah, they were going on class and session. I know of a young lady. It took us 3 hours from Arima to Port of Spain.
I was going back home.
They had to drop her daughter to school apparently, so you don't really want the kids to miss the first day of school. Imagine that now, you reaching the school late the first day of school and you getting you had to wait in hot sun for assembly or join the late line or whatever. I mean, I don't know how it goes anymore. Do they even do those things?
I don't know. And it's not even your fault.
They were saying. They were saying.
I remember some years ago, I think there was a incident where a gas truck or something had gotten into an accident on the highway. And it caused gridlock throughout the entire country. I don't understand how a vehicle getting an accident on a highway causing traffic in Koki. Anyway.
Actively listening.
And I had to go and deliver a lecture to a class that day. And the lecture was supposed to be at 4:45. I left San Fernando at 4, unbeknownst to me what was taking place on the highway.
Excellent use of unbeknownst, by the way. Go on.
Thank you. It took me just about an hour and a half to get from San Fernando to St. Magdalene.
Did they walk?
That was part of my consideration in that moment. And I eventually sent a message saying, hey, what's going on? I ain't coming to do this lecture again, and tell everybody go. It don't make sense for them to wait on me for so long. And I tried to turn around and go home, and it didn't work out well.
Right.
So that's why I ended up staying for the hour and a half. Sometimes the principle of you have come too far to turn back now in that traffic is real.
That's a fact.
So you end up just sitting down in it and riding it out to the end. So to those that didn't have the option to say, hey, what's going on, I could call my boss and say I'm working from home, or I could say you don't have the luxury or the privilege, as one would say, of saying, I go and call in sick, let me go back home, or I go and take a casual day because this is too much for me. I empathize with you all.
Yeah, but don't we aren't we working on a national work from home policy, or that's selectively applicable depending on your position?
I am also working to get back a hairline, but some things never could come back.
Okay, I hear you, sir. I hear you.
Yeah, just went for the most outlandish thing there now.
Hey, I even mad at you. I can't talk, right? You see what is going on with me. I was talking to my friend, my brethren in Japan the other day, big up Prak. And the first thing...
Anyway.
Yeah, Japan. Yeah, first thing the man do when we answer, because of our video call, he busts out laughing. He's like, boy, what's going on with your face? Your whole face great. And at that point in time, I didn't realize that it was more salt than pepper now.
So is it that Prak, he's clean shaven?
Nah, he just go low. And he have a little salt, but it's more pepper than salt. I have more salt than pepper right now.
Yeah, but you see this one piece of salt that just
single,
yeah.
Your single strand.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, but I tell people, I earn this, This ain't great, this is silver.
Right? No, but really and truly, guys, there's a lot that continues to take place, and the development of a work from home policy could help.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been saying it since COVID, where
Before
we were
COVID.
but COVID was, I think, the turning point that showed that it is possible for persons to work from home. And I don't understand why there was no regularization, there was no standardization.
Your friend, we new normal looking just like we old normal.
Brother man, there are elements of the new normal that are great. There are elements of it that have improved. However, there's a lot of the old normal still. And I think there needs to be a lot of work done to regularize, to, I don't want to say compartmentalize, but there needs to be some compartmentalization and understand that each step in a process is its own step.
Yeah.
So you can't just say the process of moving from San Fernando to Port of Spain. There are many steps inside that.
Okay.
So you need to know what these steps are to be able to properly address it and fix it.
I am mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Speaking of steps and fixing, schools. You go ahead. Actually, let me let you do your thing.
No, because
Yeah,
I have one real outlandish comment to make before I could do that.
Yeah, because sometimes my interjections,
Yeah.
they have the potential to be problematic, if not properly.
And I'm going to say this was taken from Twitter.
Yeah.
And to give credit, you could post the picture somewhere in the middle there.
You better send it to me. I'm not going to look for it.
Yeah. But there are two cartels which were no show this year.
Up to the times. All right, Mr. Williams.
Right. Yeah, just leave that right there. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. So let me hear about the schools thing, because that's something we could get into later, because we have our guests coming up soon.
No, I was just wondering what in terms of schools reopening, normally you would start to hear by now what schools didn't get to reopen because of repairs and this and that and the other, but I figure we could leave that for a couple of years and let things settle down. I am curious though, why on God's lovely green earth is highway repairs starting the night before school reopened? Yeah, so they're going to be doing work from 8 p.m. in the night until 4 a.m. or something like that. I'm looking for the article.
You know, we as a country have impeccable timing when it comes to certain things.
Yeah. But I don't know why.
And I think
they
why
didn't do
say
it during holidays though.
And I think when I say as a country we have impeccable timing, I'm referring to the fact that we also have the ability now, even before, to foreshadow or overshadow certain important things by releasing news articles which are not totally related in any way, form or fashion. So we always say Trinidad has a 9-day mentality. We need to stand strong as a nation and remember what is taking place past that 9 days.
Like what, Aaron?
No, this is
Like
just
what?
in general. Nothing in particular. This is just in general. We could remember we friend from primary school who used to bully we and tell we were short, but we can't remember what took place last week. I guess maybe it's because of the issue of overconsumption, because there are a lot of things happening, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but around the world. But we really need to remember a lot of things.
Listen,
You find the article?
Nah. So I staying away from that for the moment. But what I'm going to do is open the papers and see what's happening. Because the last thing you want to do is talk without knowing what you're talking about now. You seeing the types of things that making front page of the papers this last rounds?
We're talking about Sunday. Was it Sunday?
Anyway, I don't want to devalue the conversation by talking about things without the relevant information. You see what I did there?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So what I did there, so I'm gonna leave that alone.
Just like how certain persons try to devalue the opinion of past persons in a position and then implemented and instituted their own persons within the position, and then the same information was reiterated.
Hey, well, I like the way that you're thinking, Aaron. I like the way that you're thinking. I was trying to explain to somebody the other day that in most military campaigns, one of the first things you do, or maybe even heists, depending on how much action movies you're into and that kind of thing. But most military campaigns, they try to address communication first.
You know, one of the movies I would watch most times if it comes on is Battleship. That's the movie with, I think, Rihanna.
Well, I guarantee you, if I watched that, it was my mistake. But go ahead, actively listening. No disrespect to, I have real love for Barbados. I have family in Barbados and thing too. God bless all it. But yeah, I real good. I real. This was not shot across the board to Barbados. This is just me saying that I don't fancy her as an actress. But go on.
Okay.
Actively
right.
listening.
And one of the things, it was one of those end of the world movies that my SO tells me I would watch over and over and over and over. Right? And one of the things that they said, yeah, of course, one of the greatest movies ever, just like Independence Day.
I just saying.
Just like Independence Day. Yeah. So one of the first
parade.
things that was
No, it had no parades in the movie.
you are correct. That's a fact.
Big up Will Smith.
Yeah, but one of the key worst things they did when the aliens were trying to invade Earth was that they subdued our communication by putting a dome. A lot of these things fucking around familiar.
Oi! Hey!
Right.
Oh, good news. Yeah, go ahead.
Right? And that continues to say communication is very key. And one of the key components to communication that we need to understand as a population, and not just a Trinidad and Tobago population, but as a population of civilization and the world, is that there's many things that are going to be put there to distract us.
Yep.
Right? And on a personal level, you need to remain focused. If you have goals set, remain focused on your goals so that you can accomplish them. All right? And one of the goals that we are talking about accomplishing this week is we are going to talk about it in a short interview with Fr Poyer of the Pointer Pier Roman Catholic Church Parish. Right, so he's going to sit with us. We recorded this last week, so mind the change in clothes and all them different things. But we recorded this last week, and we're going to sit with Fr Poyer and talk about some of the things which his parish is undertaking and some of the things that they are going to be doing in the not too distant future. So let's be joined by Fr Poyer. we are joined by Padre Poyer. All right. Now, Father, we ask our guests whenever they come into the living room, the most difficult question they will ever get in their life. We're not asking you, where's the scene, where's the word hummingbird, or what's the gist physicist. We are asking you, Father, how are you?
I feel fine. I'm a little bit worried about things happening. Some events, some world events happening. I'm a little bit worried about things happening in Trinidad and on the more Latin American, Caribbean scene, and things happening in Mexico. But even though I'm a little worried, I'm confident that the work that I have to do, that it's a big work ahead, that I will be able to move forward with the work that I have to do, which includes, of course, all those considerations.
Okay. And let me get down into now the meat of this matter, because you look like a young man. Almost as young as Ricardo and I.
Less gray hair than I am.
Well, right? So, Father, at what age was the calling made for you? Because, you know, the priesthood is a calling, right? At what age do you receive that calling?
Okay, so I was in confirmation class about 13 years old, and I came from St. Joseph Parish. St. Joseph, which you know was the first capital of Trinidad. And it was at that time a very, very Catholic parish. And so I was in the confirmation that I belonged to the youth group, which they had formed. I was involved in a prayer group. I was involved in a Bible group. All these things drew my attention. But what drew my attention as I went through that time, 13, 14, which is in teenagers' life is a very pivotal time. What drew my attention was the humanism of the priests there, their great humanity, the way that they dealt with people, the humanness. Then I started learning about all the different works that they tried to do to help people both in Trinidad and in so many countries. And the missionary work was not just preaching the gospel with the Bible. You know, they would do all kind of human development works to help people move forward, which is part integral of the gospel as well. So as I began to become aware of all of that, you know, one day I simply said, I was around 14, 15, I simply said, well, I want to be like one of them, right? I want to do that as well. And I think that's when I started moving. And then I had gone to Tranquility Government Secondary School for up to O levels. And then I went to St. Mary's College where I met the Holy Ghost Fathers. And then I became much more aware of all the different works that they were doing all over the world and many others. And I think that's really what solidified my decision to take this course.
Okay.
It was more of the spirit of service within you was responding to what it is you were exposed to the environment that they created.
Yes, so I think too that their spirit of service and the way in which they carried it out, both in Trinidad and elsewhere, in the Caribbean too as well, that really struck me. You know, why would people look for the poorest and people who are so disadvantaged, and why would they work with them in the way that they do? And that a lot of curiosity entered me because of that, right?
Okay. And when we started, you mentioned Mexico. All right. Tell us, now, I used to go to church on a Thursday during my lunchtime. Right? What happened, Ricardo?
I know because you started in Mexico there, I thought you were going to say that you used to go to church in Mexico.
Oh, no.
So it's like, when did that happen?
No. So, you see what I mean? Now, when I said I used to go to church in Point Stephen at lunchtime, and then they said that they were getting a new priest after Father Stout would have left, they mentioned that the priest was coming from Mexico.
Yes.
And
Really?
they didn't, they just, so in my assumption, it was a Mexican priest. Now I'm hearing that you started here. How did you end up in Mexico, and how did that shape your current journey that you're on?
Okay, so while I was in the seminary, I did do my novitiate in Puerto Rico. I lived in Puerto Rico for about a year and a half. That's where I studied Spanish. So just around the time of my ordination, which was back in between 1992 and 1993, the then superior of the Holy Ghost Fathers, Father Michel de Vertrail, rest in peace, in a very private conversation, he said to me that he probably wanted me to go to Jerusalem to École Biblique, do a Bible translation like the Jerusalem Bible, but for the Caribbean. So that's where he put that idea in my mind. But at the same time, the Mexican superior of the Holy Ghost Fathers, he was visiting Trinidad at the same time, just about the time when I was finishing seminary. And so he was looking for persons who are to be newly ordained, because they were starting up the mission in Mexico. It had already gone on for more than 20 years, but they were very short on personnel. So he was looking for people who already spoke some Spanish and who were about to be ordained to come and join their team. So he convinced the then superior of the Holy Ghost Fathers and the formation team that I should go to Mexico. So about just a month after my ordination in 1993, I was shipped off to Mexico. So instead of going to Jerusalem, I went to Mexico. Instead of going to the east, I went a little more to the west.
Okay.
And been there ever since. I've been here ever since, with a little bit some intermittent changes, but more or less about 32 years in Mexico. So I finished up there, and my mother got ill, and so what happened is I had to negotiate with the diocese here to be able to leave Mexico for as long as it takes, and go back to Trinidad. But at the same time, I was saying if I would be in Trinidad for a while, the best thing that I could do is to try to offer my services to the Archdiocese. And that's how the Archbishop decided that he was going to ask me if I could help out in Pointe-à-Pierre, because the guy who was there, he was leaving there. So I said, sure, no problem. And then he asked me to do a couple other things in the diocese. So I still technically belong to the Diocese of Tampico, Mexico, on loan to the Archdiocese of Port of Spain. And that would be like a few years to come. My times in Mexico are very brief, like 3-4 weeks, that's all. And then I do the rest in Trinidad.
Okay. And the next question I have for you, stewardship. Why is stewardship important within the church?
Okay, so let's pivot back to what I was saying about all these different projects that the church is doing all over the world. When you perceive that there's some good to be done, and you have that goodness already inside of you, as Ricardo was saying just a little while ago. You have that goodness inside of you. So you want to be part of that goodness, because you realize that it will not just help just one person, even though that could be the project too, depending on the state of the person. But you could actually help out an entire community, or even communities, or even whole regions. And when you realize that and you say, well, hey, in what way can I help? Then the 3 T's become important. You know the 3 T's? Time, talent, and treasure. Time, talent, and treasure. So stewardship is really about how can I contribute my time, my talent, and my treasure to that project, which is a perceived good. So you begin to look at it, how much time do I have available? Can I be directly involved in the project? Can I be remotely involved in some way, but give up my time? Then I may have some ideas, I may have some experience. That's where my talents come in, that I could actually contribute to that project in some way. And finally, treasure means any kind of material resource that you can give to the project. It doesn't only have to be money, it could be anything. Like if you see, if it's a building, for instance, you say, I could donate building material, then that's a resource, right? Or if there are copies to be made and you say, okay, I could donate a copier, something like that, right? But whatever your time is, or your talent is, or your treasure is, whether it be all three, or a combination of some two of them, or just one of them, and that's the way that you can serve. That's what stewardship means. Stewardship means how can you use wisely your time, talent, and treasure to put to some good, some perceived good, some understood good, right? Something that is already in evidence that it is good and that it will help people. And that's what stewardship is about.
Ricardo,
you all are cooking. You all are cooking with gas, because I'm a huge advocate when it comes to service and good stewardship, because some people are compulsive helpers. I am a reformed compulsive helper. I just used to do and give and so I was an open gate, right? But the thing is, stewardship requires that you be a little more diligent and a little more deliberate with the way that you utilize your resources. Because a lot of times we have good intentions, but we don't act with intent. So I'm very glad to hear that you break it down into the 3 T's, because to be able to function, you need some tangible direction, write it down, make it plain, something that you could work, a plan that you could work to within, and a vision that you could work towards. So I'm very encouraged by the way that you're speaking here. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So what ways can, case in point, Aaron and I, what is there anything in the horizon or around the corner that we could support with our time, talent, or treasure?
All right, good. So both of you, and then we hope many, many others. So we have our parish harvest coming up on Sunday, the 28th of this month, September. It will be held at the Pleasance Park Regional Grounds, Complex and Regional Grounds. And parish harvest, the word harvest originally meant a gathering of people who bring together the fruits of their labor, the fruits of their efforts, and they share it. And the gathering, and that's in all religions. The gathering normally started with a prayer of thanksgiving to God or the deity for all the fruits that they were able to reap and to bring together. And so many parish harvests, they have evolved around that concept, where you begin the parish harvest with a celebration of Mass, Holy Mass. So in our case, on that Sunday, we'll be holding Mass at 9:30 in the morning. And then after Mass, we go bless the different stalls, which is traditional among harvests. But the idea of the different groups giving of their time, here's what, the giving of their time, because they're going to operate a stall, and there's a raffle, and there's lunch, and there are all kinds of fun and games. So they're actually giving of their time. Now, some of the games, you really have to think about it. So they're giving of their talent as well. They're thinking about it. They're making it fun. They're making it really expressive. So it is not just something that is boring. Even the lunch, when you think about the variation and how they put it together, that's talent. That takes a lot of talent to be able to do that. So that's time, talent, and there are people who actually contribute because they know that the parish has all kinds of projects going on. Some of them very, very urgent. And the projects, when they are carried out, they know that these projects would benefit the entire community and beyond, or the different parish communities and beyond. So that's why they perceive it, they understand it, and they begin to take it seriously. So there are people who give up their time. Some of them give up their talent. Some of them give up their treasure. Some of them give all 3, time, talent, and treasure. So that would be one of the things to support our parish harvest, which is coming up.
Right, so just to recap that, the 28th of September, which is the last Saturday of the month. Sunday in September, my bad. It starts at 9:30 a.m. with Mass. The Mass will be in Point Up here or in
Mass
Pleasant?
will be at the Pleasant Park grounds. Pleasant Park Regional Complex ground.
Okay. Right. And we going straight until sundown with games and fun activities, and there'll be lunch.
We're singing, lunch. And then, you know, when you go to a harvest, there are all these stalls and you go around and you participate. Right. Sometimes you could throw a ball at somebody and somebody will fall in some water and all that. So, you have all those kinds of activities. So people have very, very creative ways, you know, in which people can participate. The end of the day, you know, you feel like you've contributed to something.
Now, I know for sure I will be there on that day.
Thank you.
And I may not be there for Mass in the morning as I go to church in a different parish. But I heard there's a special game that starts somewhere in the afternoon, mid-afternoon, called bingo.
Exactly. Yes, and that, you know, is very, very popular, the bingo, right? Especially when, you know, when you win and you jump up, you say, bingo! A lot of emotion.
And I have a knack for winning at bingo, so I'm coming to win.
Exactly.
Knack for winning?
A knack.
Knack for winning.
As we tell people, you know, whether you win or you lose, the fact that you participate is already a blessing. It is already a blessing because you're already contributing your time, your talent, and your treasure in some way. You're already doing that.
And this is beautiful. This is beautiful to hear because in the living room, we definitely advocate for people being better citizens. And one of the ways to be a better citizen is to contribute to the development of your community. And even better than contributing to the development of your own community is being your brothers and your sisters' keepers and helping to develop their communities. So we're going to take this as an opportunity to extend outwardly an invitation to attend this harvest. 28th of September, right? Service starts at night. Mass starts at 9:30 a.m. But Pleasant Park Regional
Pleasant Park Regional Grounds, Regional Complex.
Yeah, in other words, by the field in Pleasant Park.
Yes, if you are the Point Up Here Church, the St. Peter's RC Church, on the Southern Main Road heading northwards, it is just about 5 to 6 minutes afterwards as you keep going northwards on the Southern Main Road. The turnoff is on your right side.
the field.
No field. Exactly, the field.
Yeah.
Exactly, the Pleasant Park field, yes.
Right.
Thank you very much, Father Poyer, for sitting with us and sharing that message. I know we veered a little bit away from what the upcoming things are, but to talk about stewardship and how important it is to the church, very, very powerful message and interview there.
Yeah, well, I am excited about three things. Two things, one of which are three. Right? The three T's. Time, talent, and treasure. Right? Being good stewards over your time, your talent, and your treasure. So that, you could make contributions in ways that matter. And that's the three things. The first thing was the three things. The second thing is not the three things. The second thing is that we didn't really veer too far off what we started talking about, because, you don't start the school year and you don't have church harvest around the corner, right? And if it's not church harvest, it does normally have the school harvest and thing coming around the corner as well.
Meaning the school bazaar.
The bazaar.
Hey, as you say bazaar. One of my favorite bazaar. To attend used to be Penal Convent, no?
That was the gold standard of bazaar. Okay. And the disco wasn't right here either.
The disco used to be across the road in our next school.
The disco is something else, man. Memories don't live like people do.
They always remember you.
Whether things
are good or bad.
It's
just a memory.
Life before social media, boy. The memories that we had, boy.
Right here, the other day I was rekindling some in conversation with a friend of mine.
Normally when people say rekindling, the next thing that will come out of that is old flames. I now go to listen.
No, brother, man. The only old flame I have is our old sneakers.
That will be talking about.
Right.
Big up flame, the reliable of reliableness when it comes to school sneakers.
Right. And we were talking about some of the things that we would have done while we were in university. And that was in the embryonic stages of Facebook.
Right.
Thought over it. Some of them stories I can't even repeat. I would never repeat. All I will say is it reminds me of how much safer times were back then. When they could have walked down in Kira 12 o'clock in the night and jump on a maxi, travel into Port of Spain, go online, not know how you're reaching back home 4 o'clock in the morning, and wait it out somewhere until 6:55 so out there and travel back home.
The sleep on the stand trick. I am, you know what the funny thing, boy? Our memories, boy. We knew that UE, Kirap, those areas were not free of crime. When we say they were safe, well, I mean, that's relative and subjective, right? Because I know people get robbed at gunpoint, right? There were various forms of assault happening in and around that space at the time. So relative safety is something that I wouldn't lean too heavily into it. What I'm saying is that the risks, the frequency with which your risk was rewarded with regret, it was considerably lower then. You see the poetry in that statement there? The frequency with which your risk was rewarded with regret. Right? What I'm saying is that the trouble would have definitely met you less frequently then than it does now. Right? In terms of relative safety, I mean, you have a lot of police reports and unreported incidents of crime. So you don't have a lot of people who might disagree with the statement that it was safer then. What I will say is that the frequency was definitely a tad lower. Yeah. And I knew people get robbed at gunpoint and that kind of thing. Brethren get to shoot in Cooper. I thinking about it the other day, Aaron. I know more people who've been shot or robbed at gunpoint than I thought.
Yeah, it could be also have a brethren that gets shot in a place in Larian.
Yeah, I was there for the robbery at gunpoint prior to him being shot. Right? And then other brethren, it just with me the other day too that we either have been or know more victims of crime than we might give active thought to. Alright, and some of the crime don't dig our ears, but it's when you walk into some of these business places and they have the sign up saying no refund and no returns and them kind of dotishness anyway, but
brother man.
Another day.
So
why we never interview our ombudsman?
I don't know.
Anyway, go ahead.
Do you know any?
That never stops us from interviewing people.
I know. One of the things, as you mentioned, that the other day I purchased something online, right? And in a fear that it wasn't the right item, I went locally to try to source that item.
Right.
The price of what I paid online for the item, they are selling the item for 2.5 times that. No.
Right.
Locally. If even they had used the age-old conversion rate of, let's say, 9-1 or 10-1.
Or 10-1. Yeah.
not 10-1 is murder. But 10-1, right?
And the women talking look like 9-1 is what a push. Anyway, sorry, actively listening.
Yeah. Right? It was still 2.5 times. Sorry, 2.5. 1.667 times the 10-1 conversion.
Right.
So regardless of what, there was a level of price gouging. And we wonder why in this country the use of credit cards for commercial purposes has skyrocketed. It is instances like that makes things like that happen. Why must I pay 2.5 times the price of an item that I could buy for myself at a store locally?
You want to hear the irony, Mr. Williams? You are actually a victim of your own privilege.
Well, I'm not going to say that as well. Huh?
But that's why he's not going to say that you're a victim of your own privilege.
No, I was going to say that I'm a
That would have
victim
been
of my own.
quite coincident.
Now, I wasn't going to say that as a victim of our own privilege. What I was going to say is that we take for granted the liberties, some of the financial liberties that we have as individuals.
Let's put it this way. We still have the option
Of making an online purchase via credit card, etc. Prior to the debit cards being chipped and allowed to make certain online transactions possible, people still used to ask their friend and call around to see who don't know to make a purchase for them and then want to put back the money. Right? So what I'm saying is that even that position is one where we are victims of our own privilege.
No, but also that still happens today because the limit does not exist.
So here the catch. Alright, if I need, and this I'm really curious as to how we're gonna address this, right? If I need to purchase a ticket and pay for a hotel to facilitate a trip that costs more than my monthly
Allowance.
Than my monthly allowance. Not my limit, my allowance. Because the card have the capacity for greater funds than what I'm allowed to utilize per cycle. Right? So what does that mean? I have to buy my ticket in parts? Lay away? Do I go to the bank and say this is the purchase and then they grant? What is the process for these things?
Where you would not believe. So sometime earlier this year, I had to purchase airline tickets and pay for hotel accommodation.
Right.
And I had to skillfully spread it across 2 days. Right? So the cycle for the month was X date.
Right.
So X minus 1,
and
I
then
did one purchase. Went in and paid that off. And then X plus 1, I did the second purchase. And then I could not shop again for the rest of the month.
For the rest, and why? So why we had to be playing this kind of financial hopscotch to do simple transactions? And it's simple transactions, it's simple purchases. You don't hear anybody else on the islands complaining about this?
But you know what's the frustrating part in all of it as well? If even you have to now purchase those tickets on a local carrier. Sorry, no, on a regional carrier.
Right.
That carrier still trades in USD.
So explain to me.
Now, the catch in it is, if you go over the counter to try to purchase said ticket in TTD, the chances are that price may exceed your daily limit that you could swipe your same links card for.
So what we're seeing is that we're seeing what is possibly some form of systemic discrimination against those who do have the earning and spending capacities that others might have. Because what you're telling me is based on the limit on your card, you can or can't do certain business.
Yeah, because, and we also have to address the fact that due to COVID, the internal limits were increased. When I say the internal limits, you could swipe for more on your links card on a links transaction.
Right.
That's thanks to COVID. Because prior to COVID, I think it was 3,000 TT per links transaction. Now, depending on your bank, you could go from 5 to 10,000.
Right.
But if now you have this TT,
yeah, but like TT, can I go and swipe my card for the 8,000 TT to pay for a plane ticket over the counter?
Yeah, you should be able to. You just have to check your limit. Because as I said, banks have different limits.
Yeah.
But I think it's 5,000. And again, you had to check the bank. I don't want to misquote any financial institution here.
Again, I remember when they raised daily limits to 2,000 and to 3,000,
Yeah. So the thing is, you just had to check with your bank, and for that, a simple call to their telebanking system could help. Or a simple search on Google could help as well, or check the website of the bank. to see
I
what
want
the
to.
daily links limit is. However, for the US dollar limits on their cards, that is ever changing, because I think the blue bank, the light blue bank the other day would have decreased it to 2,500, but I know there are some places with 1,000. So you just have to verify with your bank.
So what you telling me is, if I want to travel with my kids and I have a children, but if I wanted to travel with them and I have 3 children that I have to travel, I have to save this money, right? And then spend it in tranches and purchase these tickets at whatever price they are, at whatever time they're available. Why does all matter?
Well, remember, we started off talking about ratios of 9 and 10 to 1. So what I think we also need to implement now is an equation of when you're doing these transactions, it's x plus 1 and x minus 1.
I don't want to go nowhere with my ex.
Brother man, X being your period date in the month, your credit card period date.
Oh, no, when they say x plus 1, is like she could go wherever she want to do she want. And minus 1 if they done that business. Sorry, I get triggered when you say x. Apologies. Use another letter.
But that is the typical thing for mathematical equation. X.
Yeah,
we need jail here or some counselor to address that issue for you.
School is where school is. Hey,
nah, but
speaking of addressing, it's usually the X. Hey, all fun and kicks and give aside. Fellas, we in September. It's suicide.
What's that?
Well, 2 things. Alright, let me go heavy and we go light. Heavy, it's September. It's Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month.
Yeah, bro.
Alright, so if you know you're having a tough time, there are phone calls that you could make. Your brethren and your sister and them might not necessarily be the most equipped people to help you navigate these things, but it has a lifeline. Frank KTT.
Correct.
Okay.
There's a suicide prevention hotline.
Yeah. It's not because your friends and them might not be equipped to help you means that there is no help. Because what happens sometimes when you reach out to people and they don't have the capacity or even the will to help us through particular problems, we think everybody going against and nobody care about us. However, if your house on fire, you don't call your brethren and them to come and out your house. You reach out to these services that are professionally available to handle that.
And
right?
hopefully when they call or somebody calls to say that there's peril, they actually take you on and show up.
Right?
That's a whole next situation.
There's a whole next situation. Right? But what I'm saying is that even if you don't get help from the places you would like it, that doesn't mean that help isn't available at all. Alright? And secondly, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the embers. And I really like how you remember that.
Fellas.
So you're warning the fellas.
Warning the fellas.
Warning the fellas here.
Oh gosh, you could have do that.
Oh, fellas. Yeah, because you know, SO's your SO get a promotion, so we had to be mindful of how you have this HRSU presented now.
Thank you.
Fellas, we in the embers of the year, right? And the embers normally is when a fire finished burning and it just have the little glowing sparks, and depending on what they hit, thing does heat up real quickly. The embers of the year are the September, the November, the December. October kind of one side, we don't forget that for now. But the embers coming out at the end of the year is when all them old coal and them just be looking to catch now. So when you start to see the messages coming in, hey big head, WYD, what you doing? Hey, no longer I talk to you. You cross my mind, I still have my vibes here and see how everything. When those calls and messages start popping up, please remember that we are approaching the embers, the end of the year. People have company dinner to go to, Christmas gifts that they're hoping to get, New Year's party that they want to spend and ring in with somebody, carnival season coming up, so they're looking for the fetting partner and them. And maybe not even the partner, they might be just be looking for the tickets and the partnering with somebody else. Right? So you might think that is your SO when he's really just a supply officer and not a significant other.
S, you might think he's a SO when you are SCO. A supply chain official.
Or a PO, a procurement officer.
No, purchasing officer.
A purchasing officer.
Yeah.
Right. So before you heavy down yourself, just be mindful of the time and the season.
Correct, right?
Just be mindful of the time and the season.
I get catching that right.
Yeah. Right. So on a serious note,
in our past life.
Yeah. Before the Lord delivered you. Yeah. I just saying it's a promotion into a new term and a new year, and some of the things from last season going into the next season. But you have a choice on how you navigate the season that you're in, so you have a better one coming up next. All right. Some things have changed for the better, some things haven't changed at all. But I want you to understand that is a kind of one step at a time kind of life we live in here too. Make the best that you can make today, and give yourself a better chance of shaping a better tomorrow. Right? Sometimes don't think that corner. Don't answer that message. Sometimes if you know somebody gonna hot up your head, you don't have to get something off your chest or get them a piece of your mind. No. So just block and delete now. Right? And if they're calling from a number you don't know, well then don't answer the number now. What I'm saying is, curiosity just kill the cat.
Yeah, boy.
Right? So don't feel in yourself now.
Woo! That's his lyrics, bro.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie on a roll this evening. I drink my coffee well in advance.
And with that being said, guys, we are perilously close to the end of tonight's program. And we just want to thank you all for listening and locking into the living room this evening. Trinidad is playing Jamaica shortly. So done here ready, white or you're black? I think we probably playing in black tonight as we are away.
Oh, you're black, you're gold, and you're green.
Brother man,
bigger man like Adrian Palmer and thing too.
No.
Rest my Jamaican brethren, eh?
I'm not
Adrian.
ill speaking his Jamaican brethren, but here what's going on.
This is
a problem that I have. As Trinidad and Tobagonians, we must support our national team. Forget the brethren who you know from Jamaica and who from Grenada and who from wherever. You realize how much them they support their own and we don't support everybody else?
You know what you're singing like? You're singing like you're ready for politics now. Because apparently, we do business about carry come again.
With that being said, this is yours truly, Aaron868. But watch me now. We in business about carry. We send a permanent secretary to import. Yeah, but this is yours truly, Aaron868.
No, I can't big up the Caribbean brethren and them. No, yeah. Anyway, you go ahead. You know what? You're only lucky that we run out of time this evening.
Yeah, boy. This is yours truly, Aaron868. Remind each and every time that culture is my code. And I also tell you that love is currency. So spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys.
Yo, this is Ricardo, the social stage on the global stage. Thank you for joining us. Oh, good. I was going to pull on my Trinidad hat, boy. You gonna tell me how I rag there? Yeah. So what I'm saying is, this is yours truly, Ricardo the social stage on the global stage. Thank you for joining us in the living room. Remember, guys, your glass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good, stay safe. And thanks for joining us in the living room this evening, right, guys? Hey, don't forget the harvest coming up. What's the date of the harvest here?
28th.
The 28th of
September.
Right? And, well, Mr. Desmond is up next with the big band.
Yeah, keep it locked.